Hey fellow archers and hunters. I had a customer come to me over the weekend and he was asking about an arrow rest situation. Not the first time I've had it happen, but I noticed that there wasn't a whole lot out there on videos on how to adjust this if you're in the field. So I wanted to do a short video to explain if you have this issue yourself, how to fix it so that you don't have to miss out on the rest of your hunt weekend or whatever. This is more like if you're remote and you just need a quick fix to make sure that you can shoot that big buck and your arrow is going to fly true. So the issue that he had was he climbed up into his tree and he was trying to pull the bow up, which is the proper way, right? You get your harness on, climb in the tree stand, you get locked into the tree, safety first, right? Don't need anybody falling out of tree stands. And he had a rope, he leaned over, it was hooked already, he tried to pull it up, it got snagged on a pretty decent sized branch and he couldn't really wiggle it free, so he kind of forced it. And what happened was the branch caught on the arrow rest. It's a QAD and it wound up just rotating a little bit. It's a QAD Hunter, so it only has like 1 point of adjustment on it, whereas some of the Integrade, it actually snugs up against the riser, so it's a little more secure. So it was movable with enough pressure, so kind of ruined his hunt, right? Because he came back down, he's like, man, I don't know how to fix this. He wound up trying to shoot it to make sure that he was good with his sight, and everything was off, right? Because the arrow rest is off. Furthermore, like he did try to make some adjustment, which is good. However, he didn't quite know what to do properly, and he wound up losing a bunch of fletchings because the launcher wasn't set to the right degree anymore, so it didn't get enough clearance. He's losing fletchings, getting frustrated. So he contacted me over the weekend and said, hey, can you fix it? I said, sure, no problem, took care of it, but I wanted to do this video in case in the future anybody else has this problem, then they can take care of it on their own, get back to hunting. So on this bow, this is actually a different customer's. This is a QAD Integrade, so it's not quite the same rest, but it really amounts to the same thing. His arrow rest here, it rotated back, so when it came to full draw, his launcher wasn't in the right position. Like normally at full draw, you want that launcher to be straight up like that at a 90-degree angle. His might have been down a little bit like that just due to the degree, and then when it flung, it didn't clear in time and it was hitting fletchings. Not only that, like when he adjusted it, he didn't really know the proper way to get it all set up again. If you're in the field, you already know that your D-loop and everything, if it was set up properly by the right people, right? Your trusted local shop, whatever, you trust that the D-loop is set up properly. So you don't really need to get the level and everything like I've shown in other videos on how to set up the D-loop height proper way. What's really important after you're in the field and you're trying to get it set back up is to kind of keep it somewhat loose on the back, you know, tight enough to where it's not going to rotate freely, but enough to where if you put enough pressure, it'll go up and down. And then take that launcher, set it to where it's at a 90-degree angle. To adjust the launcher to make sure that it's at full 90 degrees, you just have to loosen this screw with a Phillips head, leave this kind of snug, and I'll leave a little bit of slack, like I'll pull it kind of tight, and then I'll pull it back, pull it a little bit more, and then tighten it down, because that way it's within 1 inch of full draw. The launcher goes to 90 degrees. And then make sure that the arrow is going right through that burger button here, right through the middle of that burger button. If it's through there and its bolt is tight, then you can crank on it. After you do that, you want to make sure that you test the sight again, just because it may not be exactly perfect, right? And you want to make sure that when you're taking a shot at that really nice buck, that you're not going to shoot under it or shoot over its back, or worst case scenario, just maim the animal and not recover it. So in summary, as an overview, the arrow rest gets bumped. You take this screw here and you back it out enough and then keep it somewhat snug so that you can rotate this whole thing, especially if you have a hunter arrow rest. And Then align that arrow through the middle of the burger button. Make sure that when the launcher is up, it's at a 90-degree angle. And then tighten this back down. And then when you're all done, just go ahead and try to test it. Make sure you're good at 20, 30, 40 yards if you have a multi-pin or however your sight is set up for you. So hopefully this was educational and you guys can benefit from having this knowledge now. If it happens in the field, you can get back up and running quickly. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions.